All right. Hey, Jared, how are
Hey
you
Tim,
doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks. And thanks for taking the time today. This recording is for the Acumatica product team. And what we're going to be talking about today are the enhancements that we've made for Yooz around construction. We've had a couple of integrations and ERPs that we have had requests for us to update for the construction vertical. And as a result, we've actually made our solution much better for this vertical and for the individuals that are purchasing the ERPs and leveraging AP automation solutions in this vertical. So without going too much into detail on who Yooz is and what we do, we just wanted to give a brief overview of the company just because this might be passed to some individuals that may not know who Yooz is, but nonetheless, we wanted to give a little bit of an overview of who we are and what we do. So this is going to be a very short presentation. I would say 7 to 10 minutes at best around the Yooz solution. And up front, we'll just talk around who Yooz is, what we do, and some of the successes that we've had in the ecosystem, as well as outside of the ecosystem and outside of the construction vertical. Um, and we'll spend most of our time inside of the product doing a product demonstration. So from here, I'm going to hand it over to Jared, and Jared is just going to walk us through who Yooz is, what we do, and then from there, obviously, we'll dive into the product and focus our attention there. Jared, go ahead and
Yep.
take it away.
Thanks, Tim. So let's talk about who Yooz is. Yooz was born in the cloud back in 2010, so 14 years ago, but that really wasn't the start of our story. We were actually a spinoff of a world-class on-premise AP automation company that started and was founded back in the 80s by the same person, Didier, who founded our company. And what that really means is the technology that we use is not only proprietary, but we've been building and enhancing on it for over 30 years, which is really a differentiator because some of our competition, is outsourcing that information, or they're going and they're buying somebody else's tools or solutions and trying to incorporate it into their own, which then means they don't own the roadmap for how that solution works and can customize it further. You can see here there's been over 1,000 R&D man years, 100 plus AI scientific publications. That's because Yooz, we don't just talk about it, we live it, right? We have actual PhD AI PhDs on our payroll that work with us to ensure that our product is not only the best for today, but for tomorrow and into the future. We have over 5,000 global clients with offices in both the US and Europe, which I think is really important because all of this is happening right now in the US, but we're starting to see, especially on the construction side, some of those needs and enhancements expand into Europe. And we want to be a part of that and partner with Acumatica in doing that. If you want to go to the next slide, 10, that's fine. So let's talk about the use process. So users today in Acumatica, they can create purchase orders. They can also create subcontract orders. And in turn, they may also have change orders on either one of those. The goal is have them create those within the Acumatica platform, have that sync over, including any change orders. And then really the magic starts to happen in the use process once we get to the capture engine. And so the use capture engine is AI-based data extraction. We call it smart data extraction. And what it's doing is it's capturing the information on the invoice and helping to match it up against the purchase orders or subcontractor orders that are coming in. And they will then follow through a workflow based on the client's unique requirements. Within this workflow, we can have it go to AP teams, we can have it go to project managers, site managers, whatever makes sense for each and every client. And we can also manage that through who's a PM for a project. We can even have tables and create tables and routes for that. So the goal is that when the invoice comes in, no one's having to tell the system where does it go. The workflow is already built out that it just seamlessly runs through. And the real end goal here is to get to the no touch that you see at the top there. What that allows our clients to do is to really focus on the exceptions and not the everyday invoices that are coming in or that match. And we could even do this all the way through the payment cycle for clients who would want to have that be done through our application. Go ahead and go to the next one, Tim. So let's talk about like what we can pull. For some of our other platforms, we're pulling cost types, cost codes. These are retainage is another big one, or retention in Canada is how they reference it. This is a really big piece because this is information that drives the construction industry forward, and this is the information they need to code and to post bills or take POs or subcontractor POs and convert them over into a bill. And so this is information that within Acumatica we can pull over every half an hour, which is what our standard is today. And then once everything happens and occurs when the Yooz application hits that approval stage, we now export that bill over into Acumatica with all of the information, including the link, timeline history, and things like that. I think a real big piece that customers truly enjoy about the Yooz platform is that we can also capture documents alongside of the actual invoice. So we have customers today that are capturing pictures of the actual work that's being done. I mean, you don't want to pay and release retainage unless you know that the actual work was done. Well, how do you substantiate that was actually completed? Is it just up to a project manager or somebody to say, yep, it was done? Or do you want to have actual pictures to say, yes, here's the actual work, so you can confirm if I want to go back 6 months from now, a year from now, see, hey, here's the completed work. I have it right there in the Yooz platform. Go ahead and go to the next one, Tim. I think it's time for me to actually show.
I think it is actually time for the demo. So just give me a minute to stop sharing my screen.
All right.
And you are golden.
So I'm pulling up mine now. Let me know once you see my screen, Tim.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, I'm gonna grab this invoice right here. So this has come through, been captured by our smart data extraction engine for Granger, and it's a $50,000 invoice for HVAC and electrical work. And so within our application, in this case, they didn't reference a PO number or a subcontractor order number. And so we're going to go ahead and tie those. But if your vendors are referencing those PO numbers or subcontractor order numbers, our system will automatically grab that and match it. But one of the things I like to show within the Yooz application, it doesn't have to be one-to-one. What that means is you can have a single invoice go against multiple purchase orders or multiple subcontractor order numbers, or vice versa. You could have multiple invoices to a single PO or a single subcontractor order, really whatever makes the most sense for the client's business. So as I bring this in, I'm going to go ahead and bring this just single one in. But if I wanted to add multiple, again, if it didn't have it, or if it already had on there, we'd grab it immediately. But if it didn't and I want to bring it in, I can just quickly add this. Now you can see I have all the lines, all the information here, including all the dimensional information that's really important. But in this case, we're tying it just to this one here. It's these two lines. I'm going to attach it to my invoice. Again, that's kind of behind the scenes. Normally it would automatically capture it, but for demo purposes, I wanted to show you the ability of the Yooz platform. So you can see down here at the bottom, it's brought in the lines from this was a subcontractor order number. So we have the retainage amount, the retainage percentages, the projects that it was tied to, cost codes, cost types. And that's really important because that's information that when they're creating those orders within the Acumatica system is already being captured. So the Yooz application will help bring that information over and give them visibility as they go to code, review, approve, and even pay when they do those things. And that's a really important piece. Adding attachments that I talked about earlier, it's a really simple feature. You can drag and drop things in. You can, select a file if you already have that file here on your desktop, which I do. Let me go to my saved file, demo, and then where's my construction one? Construction. And so if I have pictures, I can bring these pictures in. Like I said, just hit open here and import. Now, one thing about the Yooz application, you have PDFs here, as you can see, PDFs, nice pictures. But with other attachments, these are things like a JPEG, but they could be a TIFF, JPEG, sound file. So if you have a video, if you have a voicemail that's left, whatever it winds up being, you can do those. And for like JPEGs and other Word, Excel files, you can even take those and convert them into PDF, which is really important as well for customers who want to be able to take that information and use it. Now, what also this is really fantastic for is for our customers that say, hey, I have a concern with this invoice that's come over. Something's not right. Well, you can communicate directly to your vendors within our platform through comments, or you have the ability also to email vendors directly out of our platform. And when you send those attachments, you can actually attach them into the communication that you're sending to your vendor. Just another way to help the communication back and forth between your vendors or your subcontractors on what's happening, what's going on, to be able to have that communication going. Once everything's been validated and looks good to go, we can hit the submit button here. And once I hit the submit button, now it moves on to the next step of the process. And so, yeah, it's locked because somebody else is using it right now. But essentially, it would go into the next step of the process, which might be approval. It may even go into payment if the person that's doing the review is actually the PM, based on, again, the workflow that the company requires, and then it can be paid based on that. So the key here for us is we wanted to make sure that Acumatica had visibility into what we've been doing in the construction industry, because we really want to partner closer and get in deeper with Acumatica on these things. And so we wanted to make sure you had this visibility that we can help your clients out when it comes to the construction vertical space. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing now, Tim. I think that's really what we wanted to cover today, right? Are you on mute, Tim?
I am on mute. Thank goodness this isn't a formal presentation to an audience outside of maybe one or two. So I'm going to stop the recording now, and thank you anybody for the time, and hopefully this helped.